Dr. Nick Delgado here with Ty Cannon, our health educator. And we're here to educate you about something rather amazing, and that is the actual cellular health from a drop of blood, my own blood, showing on a magnified over 4,000 times in color, my actual blood. Ty, what are you looking at, and what did we find out regarding, and how did that tie into my actual triglycerides? In the middle of the day, after eating blueberries all day, a whole container of raspberries, and some fat-free enchilada casserole that was actually prepared recently for my birthday, and it has some olives, mushrooms, some quinoa, some pinto beans, and some fat-free enchilada sauce. So tell me, what are the results of me eating high complex carbs, low fat, no added oils, and nibbling all day on what other people say fruit will elevate blood sugar and glucose and mess up your triglycerides? Tell me about what the actual results that these people can see on the screen. Are they able to see it on the screen, tech guys? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, first off, I want to talk just a little bit about what we're looking at here so people can understand it. And what you're seeing on the screen here is these are actual live blood cells. And we prepped a slide a little bit ago with your blood, and we brought it into focus. And what we want to see when we look at live blood is we want to see these really nice round shapes here, perfectly round, relatively all the same size and shape, not sticking together, not a lot of stuff in the background, are some of the things that we want to look for.
Okay.
And typically,
when you say stuff in the background specifically, would they see a bunch of specks of, if they have a high triglyceride, a lot of fat in the blood, like a snowstorm, like a massive amount of fat?
It looks like little black snowflakes all over the place, and a lot of times it literally looks just like you said, like a snowstorm going on in the background.
Right.
There's some other things that we'll see in the background too, like liver stress and some things like that. But just focusing on the fat content and everything right now. These cells look really good, and one thing I want to add to this too is I kind of know a little bit about what you've been doing lately, and you've been traveling and whatnot. I've looked at thousands of these slides, and when we look at blood from people that have been traveling, usually we see the majority of, like, we have one here that's a little misshapen here. The fragility in the cell wall doesn't allow it to hold its shape. And that's typically what we see across the board with people that have been doing a lot of traveling. So obviously the things that you've been doing with your lifestyle and your protocol really make a big difference, even in when your circumstances are compromised. So these are looking really good. And what we can do, I think, to make this a little easier for people to understand is I'm going to jump over here. We have some other pictures here, and if I can find a good one, like, this is an example. This is somebody, they eat a lot of meat, cheese, eggs. They're, using a lot of oils, excessive amounts of oils, even healthy oils in their diet. It starts, that snowstorm we were talking about, those extra fats start coating the cells, and it causes them to become sticky and stick together, which causes a huge list of problems. Number one cause of type 2 diabetes. So that's some of the main things, and this is a really good comparison. So, and this is what you would expect to see if you're going to, your fast food joint of place, eating lots of pizza, In-N-Out Burger, or even a lot of times people think they're eating healthy because they're eating their cage-free eggs every morning or something like that.
Or range-fed steak, right? Beef.
It's still, the cholesterol content is so incredibly high, and we see people pushing these different, like paleo diets and keto diets, and like with paleo, I do a lot of personal training and things like that. First off, nobody does it like it's supposed to. You see, there's a website out there that sells paleo food.
Okay.
And you look at the pictures of the food they're serving, and it's this giant piece of meat and then this little tiny portion of vegetables, which is completely backwards. The human body just can't handle those excessive amounts of fat, and after day after day after day, it starts adding up, and this is what you start seeing happen in the blood.
Can you also address what is my actual digital numbers? What is my actual triglycerides? In the middle of the day, after eating randomly, not knowing we were going to do this live shoot, but we decided to here today. And that being said, what, besides what we see how clean my blood looks on the side of the screen where the cells are separated, but what are the actual triglycerides, and what does that mean to people, and what is the actual glucose levels, if you can just share with people?
Yeah, and that's really important because we back this up with other forms of testing. This isn't just an opinion or interpretation here. Your total cholesterol, 160. Again, midday after eating. When you go into your doctor, they're having you fast all night, and it really gives kind of an inaccurate idea of where your levels normally are.
And also the Framingham studies, William Castelli, the director of the Framingham studies, the longest scale study ever to monitor cholesterol and heart disease. And Nathan Pritikin once stated himself that your ideal cholesterol should be 100 plus your age and not over 160. I turned 63 literally 5 days ago, or 9 days ago excuse me, 5 days ago, whatever it is, is January 5th. And 63 and I'm at 160.
You're at 160, and and a lot, we want to point out to other, like your HDL.
Yeah.
We're at 46. Triglycerides, 68. Again, midday after eating. That's
68.
Incredibly low.
Yeah.
LDL
But
is at 100.
sufficient to sustain my needs for fat and energy calories from fat, but certainly allowing my blood cells to remain separated. And people have to understand that when triglycerides get over 200, over 250, you see a snowstorm of fat and the blood cells start to stick together, right?
Exactly. And you brought up, having enough calories, and it's like, with your exercise routine you do, I've worked out with you lots of times. I know the competitions you do. People like to debate all the time, oh, well, this diet's not going to give me enough, calories and protein to sustain their training. I haven't found anybody that keeps up with you yet. I try to when I work out. It's inspiring and frankly a little irritating sometimes. But,
Yeah. Well, as you know, we offer an open challenge for anyone who can beat me in curl and press with dumbbells, whether it be 30-pound dumbbells in each hand or 45-pound dumbbells in each hand. If you can hang with me and outlift me, you win $1,000 on the spot. And you've yet to see anyone beat me in the last 3 years.
I haven't. Let me ask you this. Is there anybody, the people that do fairly well, okay, are any of them following these other diets that you're talking about? Or is it people that are doing maybe something similar?
Are you talking about in my sport?
In your sport, like when people come out and compete with you, because it's like I know it's people, they talk about how great their diets are. We've had a lot of debates at some of the different conventions and things with people about, they're promoting eating a lot of meat, cheese, eggs for protein and stuff like that. But you never see anybody that's able to actually demonstrate these incredible feats of athletic performance, like yourself, Jack LaLanne, people like that.
Let alone at my age, right? Because the guys that
At your
compete
age,
against me are anywhere between age 22 and 28, maybe pushing 32. And oftentimes I'll ask them right on the spot, are you a paleo? Are you a keto diet guy? Are you a carnivore? Do you really even eat that much fruit, vegetables, plant-based proteins? And the answer is rarely. These guys are usually on steroids. Oftentimes they'll admit to me off camera, and they look buff as heck. But when it gets down to true strength and endurance performance, I toast them. But I'm not talking about bragging about it. I just know that if I ate the way they did, I would have less than the ability to sustain that ability. And there's a book on the shelf, Jade, if you can hand me P.O. Astran. It's a textbook sitting on my desk. And if you just hand that textbook to me, it's probably the definitive textbook by one of the top scientists. It's right there under sexual health. Can you see that textbook there? It's a blue textbook. Yeah, no, the other one. There's another thick textbook. It looks like a bound textbook. Yeah, hand me that, please. So if you just keep track of, and you get this textbook, it's called The Textbook of Work Physiology, Physiological Basis of Exercise by Pierro Olaf Astran. This is the definitive textbook about true human performance, and it documents how, and it started the whole trend of carbohydrate loading, but it documents in the same individual, when they put them on a high protein, high fat diet, and then having a bicycle ergometer, they even did muscle biopsies. And they went on to measure against a high complex carbohydrate diet, and in case they actually even added simple carbohydrates, and they compared that, and the performance far exceeded all other capabilities in people using a high complex carbohydrate diet, low in fat, without added oils, and so forth. But I have to say, that's not the only reason I outperform these guys. There's a number of things, like when I wrote the book Mastering the Powers of Inner Health, when I worked with Tony Robbins. The power of the mind is absolutely essential. And we're going to be teaching a class on Saturday, February 17th from 10 in the morning till 2 p.m., where also on Saturday, February 24th, here at our center in Costa Mesa, we're going to live stream it. But we're going to give people an opportunity to look at their own blood and see what's going on in their blood, because blood doesn't lie. You and I know, we've looked
No,
at tens of thousands of samples, and you're going to see how the power of the mind, how whatever you've been doing up until now, your diet, your supplements, whether you're keto, paleo, or on a high complex carbohydrate, low fat diet, like as we recommend in my book, Simply Healthy Cookbook. But I got to say, the supplements I use, I know you recently tried a stack of supplements that you were quite blown away at how effective these are. Tell us about what you experienced with these since the program that we met the doctors at the A4M in what it was December 16th, 17th or so, around there. So take a look at these, and let's talk about these right now.
Well, so the reason why I started taking these is we were at the A4M, and I'm 55 now. And, like a lot of guys, I experienced kind of some of the symptoms that you get when the testosterone drops. And I'm familiar with it, so I know what that is. It starts out with kind of that brain fog. And then you have, kind of that, you notice that lack of desire to go out and exercise. And like when I interview people and about coming in to work out and whatnot, I ask that question because that's a symptom. People think, oh, that's just the way I am. I don't like going to the gym. If you don't like going to the gym or doing something physical, there's a reason for that. And then I also, like when you're in the gym and you're doing your workout, but you're kind of looking at your watch waiting for it to be over. These are, you should be energized when you train. You should want to do more.
Right, and it's not that like an ADD person like me, where you're trying to multitask and do 6 things, and people are calling, and you're going, oh, what do I do? I got to call this person back. How do I handle this? And what's up, right? So if that being said, Jade, if you can take this, because this call came in and it has to do with this shoot. So let me ask you this then. When you started taking testogenesis, and you just take the cream, right?
Yeah.
And you just
a
squirt
little
it out.
squirt. And,
Here we go. This is a brand new jar. And you can just put it right behind your neck, wherever the thin areas on the body, not the fatty areas, right? Just rub it right in. Just start rubbing it in, right? Yeah. So you started doing this.
I was just doing it on the inside of my arm.
So about how many days ago did you start doing that?
Well, actually, guys, it was probably about 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
So in 4 weeks. It was when we left the show. I did that. I noticed a difference almost immediately.
Within a half hour of putting, people said at the show they were noticing within a half hour of putting it on their skin.
At the show, when the first time I tried it, I took the Testogen, and I used the Beat Vitality.
Okay.
And I drank that down, and then I took the Neuromethyl Pro. And at one point I came over and I told you, Nick, I got to leave the booth for a while. I need to go run and burn some energy off.
Yeah. So the Beat Vitality, actually, what I should do is just kind of show this here. The Beat Vitality, I'm going to first stack it with some ultimate antioxidant, the hydrogen, because this is another reason why I perform so well. I don't know if people can see this on the screen, but this is starting to outgas trillions and trillions of molecules of hydrogen right now. And as it creates all that hydrogen, that's going to donate an unpaired electron to not get overly complex, but it clears free radical damage. Essentially what we believe is it helps to slow the aging process. It helps physical performance. There's over 500 clinical papers now, particularly out of Japan and now being duplicated in the US, about the benefits of this hydrogen therapy. So you can see it's outgassing tons, tremendous amounts of hydrogen. I'm going to drink it down as soon as it stops outgassing. But now I'm going to stack it with some Beat Vitality, and we'll get both the combination of beets, which liberates nitric oxide, which is an incredible molecule that helps to vasodilate, improve circulation. It helps to build up the immune system. The white blood cells load up with nitric oxide to fight invaders and cancer and microbes. I cut my foot literally on the day coming back on my birthday, January 5th, and I flew over the 6th, and I had stepped on something just straight right in my foot. I was swimming in the ocean, and I don't know if it was a sea urchin or what, but deep little hole there. It was not comfortable. So I was dealing with a little infection and things going on with that, but I've been taking the supplements to build up my immune system. So this nitric oxide, which helps sleep, helps sexual performance, helps physical performance, so that's where in my vertical lifts I do well, but it also has the hydrogen mixed in here and amino acids in the Beat Vitality that releases growth factors, growth hormones. So that rejuvenates the body as well.
So that probably might have a lot to do with, because I've also noticed since I've been taking this that, I'm not only, the energy is up, the mental clarity is back. But my strength has increased considerably. I mean, actually to a point to where I don't even want to say, but it's my lifts have gone up a lot.
Wow.
Just in about, in this 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
In 4 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
It's
So,
pretty crazy.
so I didn't really stir it properly or blend it properly, but
Right.
just kind of transferring it over to here to a little cup. So I'll take a little swig here while we're on the show, because that hydrogen already mixed in. But I got to tell you, I love the fact that anything that I do is reproducible, not only by anyone watching the show, but it's reproducible at the microscopic level by testing glucose, lipids, every indicator of health. You can compare what I'm teaching in a protocol for nearly 40 years I've been teaching people.
Long time.
So the question is, what are you prepared to do? So come Saturday, February 17th, I'm inviting everyone to come to the event. First come, first serve. So go to the registration page, and we already have like 25 people registered. We've got seating from maybe 40 if we jam them all in. Maybe
40's tight.
Maybe the seating up here we can fit a few to kind of view in on the live viewing as well. So bottoms up, this is one of the things that you notice in 4 weeks
Right.
helped you with a dramatic noticeable improvement in performance, right? That's actually really good. I really love this stuff. Beet Vitality tastes really good.
Yeah, one of the things I respected too a lot about when I first started, studying with you, and the reasons why I came here in the first place was, and I remember asking you about, why you were doing the competitions, why are you so driven to break these world records? And you talked about, you knew that you needed to step out and get out there and do something to prove that this protocol actually works. Because people want to just debate and throw opinions back and forth. It's hard to argue with, a lot of this, coming back to what I was saying originally, when you compare, that extreme athletic performance and longevity, you just don't see it. You can get pretty healthy or achieve some good results on some diets that might not be that great, but you're not gonna hang on to it.
Well, speaking of performance, I got the opportunity to interview Brandon Mebane, who's the nose guard for the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
And he won a Super Bowl at with the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl ring he was wearing. And he talked to me about it, that here's a 300-pound nose guard who goes against some of the toughest guys in the NFL, and he's switched over to a Delgado protocol type Simply Healthy eating plan, and all kind of motivated. If you listen to podcasts, you go to our website, it's pretty inspiring. But he talks about how some of his wife's relatives had developed breast cancer, and it concerned them. And then they saw the documentary, What the Health, and it really got him excited about it. And I know there was some people, including Z-Dog, criticizing the What the Health doctors. And, the What the Health doctors, some of them work personally for me and with me. Dr. Michael Clapper, an amazing doctor. We've probably had somewhere close to 47,000 views, with Dr. Clapper, one of our highest viewed videos, because he's so eloquent, so clear and concise. And here's a doctor who's 70 years old. He's for nearly 40 years of his career, like I have, monitored all these clients who were basically vegan, and he encouraged them to go oil-free, that next step. And here they are showing, siring children, giving birth, going through pregnancy and lactation, and raising these healthy kids, and more than one generation. And so I think people have to realize that not only can you raise healthy kids on a program like this. I have a 9-year-old that I took with me to Maui, on up to my oldest is 39 years old, 4 boys and a girl. But here I am, 63, and I can run circles around almost any 20, 30-year-old in strength endurance competitions. And people say, oh, anyone could do that. So you try 45-pound dumbbells, curl and press overhead, or try and break the Guinness World Record for curls with 50 pounds, see how many curls. I trained with you, and you were showing me tips of my weak points, of how to strengthen those weak points so I would pull through the weight. And so every advantage I can get, whether it be the proper supplements, the proper diet, the correct breathing techniques, the correct power of the mind techniques. So coming Saturday, on February 17th from 10 in the morning till 2 p.m. right here at our training center downstairs at our media event area. We're going to be not only teaching and educating people how to use hypnosis and NLP and LFC, laser focused concentration, and something that I've worked on quite a bit, which is called eyes open hypnosis. And we're going to help because you know the New Year's resolutions, right?
Yeah,
everyone
they're
makes
falling
resolutions. Within weeks, they go to the gym, and then the gyms get quiet, and the people disappear, and their whole resolution starts to kind of fade. And so what I'm going to teach people is something that really gets at the unconscious level, because it was once said by Michael Stevenson, one of my co-teachers at NLP classes, and he trained with Dr. Tad James as I did, and also Kyra Redford, who's going to be helping to teach the class coming up Saturday the 17th and the 24th. Kyra Redford, you know, he said he first met me at an NLP class with Dr. Tad James, and you know, and with Nurka and some other people that are all into this field. And Tony Robbins, of course, made it popular. But I got to say that I think the number one reason for anything that I've ever accomplished was I looked at all my goals and dreams and my move toward, move away values, and it was looking at those from the year 1993, after the mother of my son died after childbirth. Nicholas's mom, Shelley, died. And that was so tragic to me, to having lost her due to hyperthyroidism. And maybe on Thanksgiving morning she ate a huge meal, and then, you know, later that night, that is the next morning, she died and was taken to Hoag Hospital. I think about that, and I think, you know what? There's something we have to do to educate and guide people, but more importantly, to instill values. That when I travel, I carry food with me. I carry a food bag with me. Go USC. I graduated from USC, 4 years there at the university. And I put a little blue ice in there, and I keep my food fresh. So not only do I have my enchilada casserole, but I'm going to show you something else that
Usually
we
a big green salad too.
This
You
is
usually
keep
keep those huge salads.
No, this is a huge salad. This is a papaya jicama salad that I've put together here. That's just amazing. It's got all kinds of vegetables in it. So I'm going to munch down on this as well. So I kind of titrate my calories through the day. What I mean by that, if I get a little bit too much caloric density with enchilada casserole, I'll switch over to some of the fresh fruit. I'll eat some more of the salads. And then if I don't have enough calories, I'll switch back over to eating more of the bean dense, you know, quinoa, something with more calories in the corn tortillas. So you really have to get used to your body and how your energy, how you feel hour to hour, day after day. Because who wants better performance? Everyone needs more energy. With more energy, you can accomplish more in the day. You can be a more successful business person. A lot of entrepreneurs are coming to this event. A lot of successful real estate agents, because Kyra Redford tends to attract some of the top real estate agents in the country. I know Veronica, his co-teacher, she was #1 real estate agent in the country. And now they're embracing my program and going through, they did the blood analysis, they're starting to follow the diet, the nutritional Simply Healthy, they're using some of the supplements. So we're checking people's hormones. That's a little added cost to do the test, but then we figured this all out. So at that event, it may be a big turning point for people. And we're going to stream the event for those who can't physically fit into the building or come to the event. So if you tune in on Saturday, February 17th or Saturday, February 24th from 10 to 2 p.m., we're going to stream that, but it's nothing like being live. If they can come to the event and register for the event.
Well, when they come live, they get to enjoy some of this awesome food that you make up.
We're going to be serving oil-free vegan food. They're going to get to sample the various supplements. They're going to hear, and I'm going to put them through a timeline therapy session where we're going to float up out of the room, and we're going to future pace, and we're going to instill all their goals, not my goals.
Right.
Each person has their own values and goals and dreams, and we're going to have them kind of write those out, and then we're going to let them and teach them and guide them in that 2-day back-to-back Saturday to Saturday event, where they're going to go away from that session thoroughly prepared, instead of being that 99% that doesn't accomplish their goals. And we know that 99.7% of all decisions are made at the unconscious level. That's what Tony Robbins discovered, Marshall Silver. You had introduced me to Marshall Silver years ago, I think it was, and you talked to me about his book, and I went in training with him. So I've really sought the top trainers in the world, because I knew to break the world record, not just for lifting. I mean, that's a cool thing to do and brag about and kind of share with people. But I plan to break the world record for healthy aging. I expect to be the oldest, longest lived individual in the history of mankind. And we know Jean Calumet lived to 122 years and 46 some days, died in a care center in Paris, France, and was found due to dehydration. She died. I expect to, on my 123rd birthday, which is 60 years from now, I'm 63, 60 years from now, break the all-time world record. And to prove that I'm healthy, not only will I do vertical lifts, that night I'll have sex on my birthday.
Hopefully not only on your birthday.
Oh, no, every day leading up to.
But,
so here's PCOS heart. What has this done for you? Because I wanted to kind of address that, because the number of people dying from strokes and heart attacks.
Yeah.
And when I was a young guy, I had a stroke at age 22, had a transition from age 23. Did I ever show you my pictures before after? Let me check this out. I can just grab this. I wasn't always healthy. This is a picture of what I used to look like when I was quite a tanker, over 200 and some 10 pounds or so, and over 25% body fat. Now my goal is always to kind of shoot towards 9% single-digit body fat. I mean, that's kind of where I like to be, and I jump a little above that depending on my travels and what I'm
there was
eating.
something I think that we have in common only a lot sooner for you. Didn't you have something happen when you were carrying all that extra weight?
Yeah, I had a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. I had a small stroke. I was playing on Thanksgiving in the Turkey Bowl in Pasadena against the Pasadena Cops, and I was on the Ralph side. My buddy Box Boys asked me to come play because I like to be vicious and play linebacker. And at halftime, though, it had nothing to do with the playing. I had high blood pressure leading up to there for 5 years, and I was on blood pressure medications. And I just all of a sudden felt really funny and fell to the ground, and my whole side of my body went completely numb. And it lasted for quite a while. I mean, it took me time to recover from that stroke. It was a small stroke. And, that was the beginning of, I seeked out, the teachings of Nathan Pritikin. In fact, there was a turning point where the book Live Longer Now, which isn't shown here, but the Pritikin program, I worked directly with Nathan Pritikin. And later I got the chance to interviewed Dr. John McDougall in his great book. It doesn't show too well on this book. Yeah, McDougall's Medicine: A Second Opinion. I mean, there's so many great books that I've read that are on my shelf here that I really want to share with people, because that's part of the training. We have this full education program now on YouTube and on our website, DelgadoProtocol.com. So tell me about what your experience was in dealing with what appeared to be high cholesterol, higher than it should be.
And I think it's important. We talk constantly about how important it is to manage your diet for controlling your cholesterol levels. But diet's not the only thing. And I eat clean. I have a pretty good diet. I have a few little things I get off here and there, but it's good. And I go in and I ran one of my cholesterol panels, and it's like, I'm at like 238. Now, mainstream, your doctor is probably not going to be alarmed at that. It's not a crazy number.
Kind of an average level.
But I've looked at a lot of these over the years.
200 to 230.
I've seen hundreds of these over the years, and people that eat and follow what I follow, they're usually down like around 160. So I know there's something going on there.
You've always been fairly lean most of your life, right? You were never really heavy. I mean, genetically, you tend to have a lean body profile. So no one would expect that you would have, quote unquote, high cholesterol, because it should be 100 plus your age and not over 160. So at very least, it should be like 150 something. But it was recorded as high as 238.
Yeah. So, I really couldn't figure out what to do with. With my diet. I was already doing everything I knew to do, so I talked to you about it, and you had me start taking the Heart Plus,
PCOS Heart,
the PCOS Heart, and it was my numbers came down significantly. I went from 238 down to like 190. Wow! And that was over the course of I think probably about 6 weeks.
Right, and you were taking about 3 capsules a day, or how many did you take?
I was doing
4.
I was doing 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening.
Okay, so about 4 a day, and that turned out to be an appropriate amount that would help you. And you didn't change anything else with your diet. I think you even admitted to me your diet wasn't even as good as usual during that course of time. I'm not sure. I recall some conversation.
It's not perfect. There's little things that sneak in. I mean,
it wasn't due to the change in diet. It clearly had to be due to the product introduction.
No, and when I was taking the product, I did not change my diet.
Right. That's what
it was consistent, so it wasn't because of a diet or lifestyle thing. Everything was the same. My exercise was the same. Sleep was the same. Everything was the same. This was the only difference.
Okay. So in this product, there's berberine, bergamonte,
Yeah.
and lycopene.
So what is it about that why is that working? Why does that help?
Well, those three ingredients independently as herbs on their own were shown to reduce the bad LDL cholesterol, help to sustain to a degree the good HDL cholesterol, and stabilize blood sugar levels. So all of which are critically important for prevention of stroke, heart attack, and cardiovascular health. So I decided, why enter into that debate? Why would I say lycopene from tomato extracts better than bergamonte and berberine is better than any of the other two? I said, well, wait a minute. Why don't I just go ahead and put them all three in there? And that's what I did. I made this the premier product, an amazing product, and I decided that because of what is the #1 selling drug in the country? I believe it's Lipitor and some of the statin drugs that help to manage or deal with hypercholesterolemia, because
Create huge liver stress.
it not only causes liver stress, there's side effects, there's numerous side effects. So I thought, what if people could actually try an herbal product that, under their doctor's guidance, that would help to lower their cholesterol, transition them from either not needing those particular medications, and then, of course, I'm going to encourage them to eat a healthy diet and follow exercise. I'm not going to discourage them from that, because that's the first thing I want people to do, is get that core value diet down, and plant-based protein diets, obviously. I don't want them eating chicken and fish, which has as much cholesterol as red meat. You had already learned this from me and had made all those changes, but there's some people that have stubborn levels. What is it? We're not sure exact. It could be the liver, could be the production of cholesterol in every cell of the body, but it's not just that the body makes too much. So what these herbs have been shown to do is to kind of modify that production, that internal production, while at the same time, by limiting the intake of cholesterol itself, now you have the best of both worlds. So my projection for you is that over the coming year after year after year, instead of getting progressively worse with high cholesterol, potentially clogging the arteries over time, but to clean the arteries, it took me about 8 years to really clean up from this picture when I was quite the tank, and it took me time. I have some after pictures that I've shown elsewhere in some of my books and things, but when I wrote the book, Weight Loss and Energy Now, this is dating me back a little bit, back in, I think, around year 2000, I talked a lot about the things that would help people to lose weight, and I have a new revised edition of the book Grow Young and Slim coming out real shortly. I'm kind of excited about that book, and in time for the event, February 17th, we're going to have the revised edition of the acne book, Annihilate Acne Naturally, which is our big seller. This category of product, helping people with their skin, their acne, is one of the big things. So my goal is not only to be kind of the best at helping people to improve their skin, all the teenagers that we've helped, the tens of thousands of people ordering the product and getting help and learning about healthy diet and how to modify that, what herbs and supplements and ester block and acne cleanse, the new cream, and also Live Detox. But to introduce people to, look, your cardiovascular health is critical. Your health from a standpoint of your immune system and your circulation, your hormonal balance. So it's kind of a full prong approach, because I know if I'm going to break the world record for healthy aging and reach 60 years from now, 123 years of age, and have all the performance capabilities that you would never imagine for a person 123 years of age, I'm going to have to do it all. I'm going to have to do it all. And that includes the stimulation of my stem cells, mitochondria, chromosomes. My mindset has to be right. I have to surround myself with the right people, because you become the people you hang around with, the 5 to 10 people you spend the most time with, right? You will either adapt their poor habits or you will embrace their good health habits. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that I've really respected about you and the way you put things together is, and I've been exposed from owning gyms and things with so many different supplement companies and whatnot, and you're the only person out there that says, look, don't just take my products. You have to follow the protocol. Yeah. You have to do the diet. You have to exercise. You have to address the mind and deal with the whole package. Something that I would like you to help me with a little bit here today. It's something that's pretty close to me, is if I can take just a second to tell a quick story about how important this diet is. And I'm always battling with these trainers out there about these keto diets, these high-fat diets that they want to push. And we had a guy who used to come in the gym. His name was Adam. And nicest guy you could ever want to meet. I mean, he's the kind of person, he comes in the room and he just kind of brings the energy up. Always happy. He was saving up to get enough money to get married. comes in, and just before he went to work out, he gets on our scale. We have a really high-end tinnitus scale. It measures, both types of fat, bone density, hydration. It's pretty sophisticated tool. All of his numbers looked really good on that. Okay, he had 6-pack abs, right? He did not follow the diet that we talk about. He was, high fat, really close to a lot of what they advocate in the keto diets. 17 minutes after he did that reading on the scale, he was dead.
Wow.
That was it. I looked over, I was training another client. He was laying down there. I went to check on him. He's not moving. We tried to do CPR. We couldn't bring him back.
Wow.
When they did an autopsy and they found that he was had such massive arterial sclerosis that they said all the CPR in the world wasn't going to save him. And, I get really, I get my back up a lot when I get people trying to debate and telling, oh, look, you can eat tons of bacon and have 6-pack abs. It's like, well, there is a way you can pull that off, but there is a price.
Sure.
And I think people and trainers and coaches need to take some responsibility for that, and get educated in some of these things. Learn how to look at the eye, look for the signs of the, the arcus senilis, isn't that what it's called?
Yes.
The cholesterol buildup in the eye.
Yeah.
But, help me out here and explain how important this is for trainers to get on board with this.
Well, first off, you brought up something, and it's as simple as looking into a person's eyes, and I'll tell them, it used to be called arcus senilis because they thought it was associated with aging. Now they call it arcus cornelis because it even occurs in young people, and quite typically it relates to the level of their cholesterol level, based on animal-based diets, whether it be too much fish, chicken, turkey, eggs, meat, anything that has legs, wings, could wiggle or could move, essentially has cholesterol in it. If it had roots and it grew, even if it's coconut or if it's avocado or olives, it has no cholesterol in it. It might have a little more fat, and we're finding now that plant fats are relatively okay so long as we eat them in their whole state.
Right.
It's when we pull them out and we separate them, those oils go right into the bloodstream. And there's a classic video I did, how to become diabetic in 6 hours. And what I did was I took my blood, literally, and then I went ahead and drank olive oil just to show. And within, I think it was 2 hours, the cholestat repeat reading showed my triglycerides had doubled. And by the end of 6 hours, I added some more fat with some cheese and stuff just to really add it on thick, and had some meat, some stuff. And man, my triglycerides skyrocketed. It was maybe 350, 400, and you could see on the TV screen the blood fat.
Is that still on?
Oh yeah,
available?
if they go right now to
totally
YouTube,
watch it. It's really good.
You go onto YouTube. It's not even on my channel. You just type in how to become diabetic in 6 hours, and I believe it's Carbundance, which is a distributor in Germany that picked up my video and loved it and shares it with everyone. And you can just see there's a point where there's so much fat in my blood, I just got sleepy and tired and unconscious. And there was a longer video of it on Vimeo.
I think you did like go out at one point.
Oh, there's a Vimeo version of it, the 9-minute version, not the 6-minute version, where I literally just had to lay down on the ground because I was just falling asleep because the fat was just thick, so thick I wouldn't get enough oxygen in my brain. And I think that's one of the early indicators of dementia, Alzheimer's, mental clarity. All these people are talking about neurotropics and things. So I created NeuroInsight, the product, because I knew that part of the ingredients in NeuroInsight are methyl donors, and they help the liver to process energy and help the estrogen dominance issues and so forth. But that more than that, I'm including new ingredients in that product to really help the brain function. But no amount of herbal intervention is going to override someone eating massive amounts of fat and oils and grease.
Wasn't there a study recently where they were saying that a lot of Alzheimer's cases are being misdiagnosed and it's actually a result of lipotoxemia?
Yes, and in fact, Dr. Alzheimer himself, in the original medical journals, wrote up that he had identified the people with the highest incidence of Alzheimer's were the ones with the highest cholesterol and were on a meat-centered diet. I mean, he absolutely, here's the doctor that the disease is named after Dr. Alzheimer's and dementia, and here he was the one that first identified it, and everyone just kind of ignored that in the literature. I have a book on my shelf here, I'd have to find it, called Brain Fitness. by Dr. Klatz and Goldman. And, it talks about the nun study here. I just have so many books here. I'd have to sort for it a little bit later.
Yeah, just tell us about it.
But, it basically, what they did was they monitored nuns who were essentially vegetarian, plant-based, vegan. And over the course of their life, their cholesterol levels were low, their circulation was good, they had little or no incidence of Alzheimer's. I believe the incidence was under, I think it was 5 or 10%. I'd have to look at the original studies. But the incidence of, they followed nuns who were animal-based eaters, high protein, high fat, meat eating. These individual nuns had the highest incidence of Alzheimer's across the board. And it's interesting because they were both cultures that kind of low stress. They didn't really have to compete in our environment. So they wanted to kind of, and they did the same study with the Benedictine monks and the Trappist monks. Same thing. They had, one group was kind of plant-based vegetarian, the other was animal-based, same findings. The group on the animal-based diets had high incidence of cardiovascular disease, poor brain circulation, brain function, and the group on the vegetarian vegan diets lived longer, healthier, cleaner arteries. So, I think it goes without saying, you have to look at thousands and thousands of studies like we have. I know nutritionfacts.org, my colleague Dr. Michael Greger, who wrote the book How Not to Die, his team reviews somewhere close to, I believe, 2,500 medical journals a month, and they post them and review them. I'm of the school that, because I work with Nathan Pritikin, we used to go in the old days down to the medical libraries, and I have tons and tons of journals that are reprinted now and hard copy. Now we have everything digital. But I got to say, the evidence is not only compelling. I always felt that Pritikin might have hyped it too much and overstated. When I actually read the journals, I realized he understated. Understated. So what of 20 diseases, according to Michael Greger in How Not to Die, right here in this book, what 20 diseases can be prevented or reversed, according to Michael Greger? I'm open about talking about all the books I read. I read 176 books a year, and most of them are Audible books, because I really am a big fan on Audible books. But when you comb through these books and read them in detail, I listened to this book, I think, 4 times on Audible books. And the references are just, you can't refute them. I mean, it's literally, I don't know how many pages of references here. This whole section in the back is, what does it say here? All the way from this whole section of the book is medical journal references, if anyone questions them. And I personally have reviewed most of these journals. I got to tell you, because that's kind of where I come from. I love to review science and journals and information, but then translate them into how can we accelerate human performance. So there's a great book by Garth Davis, Proteinaholic. I think everyone should read. I think that when you look at the textbooks on nutrition, and I'm kind of grabbing for different books that I really love to share with people, on Reversing Diabetes by Dr. Julian Whitaker. Really, the book came directly from the notes of Nathan Pritikin. I know for a fact, because I had access to all the original studies, because Whitaker worked with Pritikin. So Pritikin was kind of the forerunner to all of the lifestyle medicine movement. And of course, Caldwell Esselstyn wrote the book Prevent Reverse Heart Disease. Dean Ornish wrote his fine books on diet spectrum. So I think more and more people, the biggest trend right now is plant-based vegan diets and keto diets. So I actually am coming out with a lean and fit product that has one particular ingredient that I actually like. It's a hydroxybutyrate type product that actually tends to potentially, and I'm going to qualify it, in very small amounts, maybe burn fat a little faster. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, the rest of the ingredients in that product, Lean and Fit, are stellar. And when you look at the list of ingredients in Lean and Fit, the new revised edition, it's always been a good seller for us. But I like it because it gives you mental clarity, a little more energy. It helps with calorium fimbrata to kind of reduce appetite a little bit, gives you some more energy, like I said. So that helps to burn some more calories. But I think
there's another big advantage to it too, is it actually helps prevent against muscle wasting, which is really important. We use that in the gym a lot with people. It's like you take it before you train. That way you're not cannibalizing your own muscle, and it really helps with your gains and your recovery a lot. So that's a nice little perk with it too.
So I think that if those of you who want to enroll and come to this event, I believe it's only $9 for the to attend the event, the live event. You can see the stream for free, actually. That's coming up Saturday, February 17th, and Saturday, February 24th, from 10 in the morning to 2 p.m. And Kaya Redford will be at one of the events. He'll be at the first event, the Saturday the 17th. They've got another commitment with the NLP group on the 24th. And so I'm opening it up to the audience, first chance to register. And you can register, let us know if you just want to be part of the live stream. And for those people who drop us some comments at our website at delgadoprotocol.com, we've been posting articles every week, and also a summary of those articles typically is posted at worldhealth.net, which reaches 26,000 physicians. I'm the medical correspondent for worldhealth.net, and our new product line called Doc Nutrients has now been endorsed by worldhealth.net for the doctors around the world. So I feel really confident that people are going to get something very unique, very motivating, very clear message. And our goal is to help as many people as possible to prevent and potentially even, I'll go so far as to say, reverse chronic disease conditions. I put my head out there because How Not to Die and other references will back this up. And if you think I'm overstating it, look up the references yourself, come to the class, watch the stream, and check out the transformations. Because see, the real transformations, I learned this working with Tony Robbins, and I was his life mastery teacher. We did live blood analysis. If you clip away to the blood analysis screen, you can see what I did for thousands and thousands of participants at Tony Robbins. And that is that he knew to get into their deepest values, and he knew to help them with NLP, and to get at the unconscious level to make these changes. Because no matter facts that we give these people, it's not going to make a difference, honestly. It's kind of in and out.
One of the things and this is one of the things you don't get from tuning in and actually coming live, and why I'm such a big fan of doing the blood analysis with people, is, I had my friend come down when I first learned how to do this, and I was pretty excited that I even learned how to do this. I never expected to do anything like this. Didn't see this in my future. So I call Alan and I said, Alan, come in and check out this new thing I learned how to do, right?
Right.
I wasn't trying to get him to take supplements, change his diet. I've known him since he was 10 years old. He'd been through me with all the gyms. He wasn't going to make any changes. I mean, he took what I said as valuable, but he just wasn't going to change. He's the kind of guy that would come to your party. He'd bring some extra ribs, some sauce, a few beers. Great guy to have there, but probably not good for your health.
Right.
So, but I took him through, and I went through this process, and I showed him his live and dry blood and explained to him what was going on. And I saw for the very first time something I've seen literally hundreds of times since then, is he got really quiet, he looked down, and he goes, "What do I do?" And he changed right then. And he did. He cleaned out his cooler. He's been a huge advocate of everything that we do here. And anybody that's been a personal trainer, health coach, wherever you're coming at this from, everybody complains about the same thing, and that's compliance. And I've never seen anything that motivates people to make these functional changes so quickly. So I think it's a really important thing for everyone to come and experience.
Blood doesn't lie, and seeing is believing. And once you see it, it's that first...
It's you. It's
that,
right there.
It's that potential turning point for people. But then the next step is incorporate NLP, timeline therapy,
all of it.
Deep trance. We're going to be teaching you some new techniques with eyes open hypnosis, and some really cool techniques with laser focused concentration.
He actually has some scripts and things that they can take with them after the event.
I have some scripts, and we're going to teach everyone how to do it, why it's so critical, and it happens in an instant.
It's fast.
It happens quick. Once you make that change, you don't have to wait 21 days to change the behavior.
And it's a commitment of just a few minutes a day.
18 minutes a day probably is about what Tony Robbins does for his self-meditation. He doesn't teach people all these techniques.
Right.
He's got other advanced courses that, like I mentioned, in 1993 December, after I attended his course with Date with Destiny, after the tragedies in my life, that was a turning point for me, because I really got into my core values and my beliefs, and it really set the stage for what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And like you, I don't think I ever saw myself in this situation, writing books and lecturing and traveling and guiding and helping, and even, let alone at my age, breaking world records. I mean, that was the last thing I would have ever thought. But somehow it came on me. I was friends with Bob Delmatique, who was good friends with Jack LaLanne, and I thought, hey, why not? I think I can do this. And I just kept training and being consistent. Isn't one of the most important principles of exercise? Most important is consistent training, right? Whether it be 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes, just 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. And then I love to train outdoors at the beach. I love to have the fresh air with my dumbbells and just lift.
Sunlight.
I look forward to it, and I love my great music mixes. So you've got to find what's right for you. We're going to give you all kinds of tips and more, and I've only given you about 3 tips that we're going to share in great detail on Saturday, February 17th and Saturday, February 24th from 10 in the morning till 2 p.m. If it says the class is closed registration, you still can take in on the live stream. And we have, I don't know what the bandwidth is for the live stream. I think it's almost unlimited. Right now we have about 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Our goal is to reach 25,000 subscribers. So please subscribe. And for everyone who subscribes, we're going to take out of a group of subscriptions, we're going to send them a bottle of one of my products. So each week we're going to choose a drawing. And guys, you heard me live. I'm going to be sending you a bottle of Beat Vitality, maybe some Testogenesis, maybe some PCOS Heart. We'll kind of choose randomly, or maybe you drop us a note. Hey, if I do get chosen, here's the product item I want sent to me. We'll send it to you absolutely free. And just please drop us a review, though. You know, this day of social media, people trust reviews that are honest and sincere. I'm not asking you to beef it up and say, oh, I definitely love this product. If you haven't never taken it, don't say that. But just drop me a review that, hey, you like this talk, and I want to learn more, whatever it is, and you be amongst the group, or you might be a naysayer. I've got people that just tear into me. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
If people have some questions or anything, can they send them to you and maybe have me address them during the show?
Absolutely. Are we getting some questions here? We can open it up at some point. We'll do it, and let's close the show because I know you got to get to a training session.
Yeah, I do.
I got to go pick up my 9-year-old, and it's been a blast hanging out with you guys. Dr. Nick Delgado, and please leave us a review, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check us out on Facebook. I know Facebook's following us right now too, and if you like this show, let me know, because we're going to actually show you samples of people coming in who have been eating heavy paleo or heavy keto diet or heavy just typical American diet. And we'll be honest.
Let's throw it up here and do some comparisons.
Let's throw it up there and let's see how you measure up to this 63-year-old, kind of like slow to keep up with guy that might have